Hello my friends, Jerry Rosa here in the Rosa Stringworks Workshop. As you know, this channel used to be an instrument restoration channel or building channel or repair channel, whatever you want to call it. And because of that, my friends at Vangoa have sent me a care package. It is a violin kit. We're going to get it out here, show you what's included in the kit, and then we're going to give this thing away. It was double boxed, you can see here, and if you don't understand what I'm saying Vangoa. Just like Van Gogh, but with an A at the end, Vangoa. It's a very nice kit. I already highlighted this kit on my vlog yesterday. The vlog number was 542. So if you want to look that up, look at vlog 542, RSW vlog 542, and you'll find it. And we showed taking this out and showing it off to the regular vloggers that tune in every day. While I'm opening up the case, I'll tell you that, as I said, we're going to give this away. And I talked about the details of that giveaway contest on that vlog also, 542. So you can check it out for the giveaway details. So here's what the inside of the case looks like. This is what I would call between a soft shell and a hard shell case. It's like a hard foam case. It's a very nice case. I like the oblong case. It gives you a little more room, a little nicer case. So let's open this up and see what we got here. It, of course, is not set up, so that's going to be the gist of the video today, is setting this baby up. It's a nice violin, you can see there, brand new, never been played. All we got to do now is put the bridge on it and tune her up and see how it goes. So that's what we're going to do. Well, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. I thought I would show you what came with the kit before we actually set it up. It came with two bridges. Both of these bridges are decent quality material. They're a little bit thick. I will probably thin it down just a little bit more. That'll make it sound a little bit better. It came with a chromatic tuner, electronic tuner, which is very nice. Came with a shoulder rest. Came with a guide that you can put on your fingerboard to kind of show you where all the notes are. It came with a violin mute. You can put this down over the top of your bridge like this, and that will mute the violin while you're learning to play and make it not quite so harsh. Came with an extra set of strings. Came with an instruction booklet. It also came with a nice cleaning cloth. And finally, it came with some dark rosin here. So that's pretty much everything, well, except for the bow. Let me show you the bow. And it's a decent bow. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give the bow about a 7, so that's pretty good. So we'll get the bow out, the rosin out, one of these bridges out, and we'll get started setting this baby up. The bridge, for my taste, is a little thick. So I'm going to take a little bit off this. You can tell they've carved on this side already. I can't comment on the height of the bridge yet because I haven't put the strings on it here or anything, but I do know it's kind of thick, so I thought I'd just go ahead and thin it down. Maybe it would be smart for me because maybe it's not the right height. And before I put a lot of time in thinning it, maybe I should just try to set it up temporarily here. So maybe I should do that. So let's see. Now the strings, I can tell you right now, don't look to be very high end. The strings look to be kind of cheap, honestly. They don't do it for me. For my money, the way they've got the strings spaced here, it's a little bit close together. I tend to spread them out just a little bit more, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. It's definitely going to be high enough. I'll probably take it down just a little bit. These, the bass strings especially, are a little bit high for my taste. Up here at the nut, it looks like these are going to be high too, so we'll probably take that down a little bit also. But everything looks like it's going to be okay, so I am going to go back to thinning this bridge down. All right, so you got to be careful shaving these down because you can break these parts off. It's all in how you go about it. But you can see here, I'm shaving off quite a bit. This will thin this bridge down and make it play quite a bit better. Pardon my cough, but I have severe allergies. Whenever it attacks, it goes straight into my lungs, and it takes quite a while before it goes away. That's feeling better. It was quite bulgy in the middle, and so I'm mostly taking it out of the middle, just making it one long plane here versus it was kind of humped in the middle and got thin around the edges. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit of sandpaper here now, just rub it like this on this flat surface and kind of knock it down, level it all out a little bit. And I know the purists don't use sandpaper. I get it, but I do. There you go. So that looks pretty good, feels nice and smooth now. So let's put it on here and see how she lines up. Like I said, up here it's a little bit high. In fact, it's for my taste, it's quite high. You know, you can have that almost touching the fingerboard, and there's quite a bit of room under there. In fact, there's enough room probably to put a 40mm pick under there without it even touching. Yeah, it'll go under there, no problem. I'm going to cut that down. Now, again, I do it a little unconventional. I'm going to use a saw to cut it down. I could use other tools. I've got files and all kinds of things, but for me, the saw is the quickest, easiest way. You notice I'm rocking the saw as I do this. That keeps the bottom round. And I'm not sawing, I'm using it like a file. I'm pretty sure I can go quite a bit further than that even. I've taken off about half the height that I think it needs. I'm going to take off some more. Another important thing if you're cutting, even if you're just using a file or anything, you want to keep this at a consistent angle. Don't be going like this. Keep it at a consistent angle. It's still quite a ways off the fingerboard. As long as it's not touching the fingerboard, you can go lower, you know, and that's what I intend to do. They play so much easier when you don't have to press so hard. That's still plenty high, but I think I may just go ahead and stop right there. It's still plenty high. I could go quite a bit more if I wanted to. This one here is real high, so we're going to take it down too. I rock it more on the bass string. I'll still be rocking it on this D string also. The big G string there, you have to rock it quite a bit to keep it round for that big string. This one, you don't have to rock it quite as much. Again, I'm using it as a file. It really is almost the same as a file. It's just that it'll file without loading up, where a file will always, the teeth will always load up, and this doesn't do that. That's pretty good. It could still go quite a bit lower. Won't hurt to go a little bit lower. You have to be careful. You have to kind of have a feel for it. I think I'll call that good enough. These skinny ones are pretty high too. Now you don't have to, like on this A string, you don't really have to rock it anymore. You can just cut it. And you want to tighten it up a little bit to make sure you're at the right height. That's pretty good. It could go just a hair more, so we will. This will make it play easy for whatever student gets this. We're going to try to give this away to a young person. So having the strings down real nice and easy to play will make it easy for a young person to learn. Now this E string is not quite as high as the others were, so I'm going to take it easy on this one, but I am going to take it down. I think I'll call that good enough. I think we're good now. Okay, so now I'm going to measure this. I generally measure them at 325 millimeters. So we're at about 324, so we could go back 1 more millimeter. That's fairly standard. It's not 100% right, but that's pretty close. You know, everybody's a little different. Actually, I'm still a hair close, just I didn't move it much. Try it again. That's right on the money. So that's pretty good. Let's look at the sound post. I hope they didn't glue it in there. I don't think they did. They just probably jammed it in a little tighter than normal. And the sound post looks like it's just about perfect for where I've got the bridge. So we're good shape there. Let me get rid of this extra tag here that we don't need anymore. Just checking it over real quick. As far as I can tell, everything looks good. The end pin looks tight. Neck looks good. So let's tune her up and see where we're at. Actually, for my taste, this bridge is just a little high. It's you know, look how far you got to press it down. You got to go a long way there. And that's okay. You'll get used to that. But it makes it much easier to play and probably a lot easier to learn also if that's not quite so high. So let's see what we can do about that. So what I do typically is I just take a regular number 2 pencil, lay it flat on this, and then kind of make a mark where the bass string is. Maybe make a mark in the middle here, you know, like that, and then maybe make a mark over here at the treble side also. And that'll just give us a ballpark. I'm not going to take it all the way down to those marks, but you can see there that it's quite a bit higher. Now I will leave the slope on this like they've got it, but I'm going to take this down some. I think that's a good idea. So I'm actually going to draw in where I think I want to take it down. You can kind of see my line there. Now I'll go over to the sander. That's the easiest way for me. Is just take it over to the sander and knock that down. Now because it's been that I've knocked this down, it actually has the effect of making the bridge thicker because you know you knocked off that thin edge and now you're at a thicker edge. So I'm just going to go ahead and shave a little bit more off. I'll tell you another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to spread the strings out a little bit more than they had it, which also I feel like makes it sound better and makes it play better. No point in crowding all the strings right next to each other. I'm not going to spread them out real far, but a little further than they had them. No point in taking anything to extremes, you know. All right, so how do I go about marking those? Well, it's just pretty much by eye. I like to look at the fingerboard here and see how the strings are running down the fingerboard. I like to spread out and get it even on this bridge also, so that we can use most of the fingerboard. And by the fact that you're spreading these strings out on your bridge, you're spreading your sound out a little bit. I think that looks pretty good right there. Now I just got to get them even. And let me show you how I go about getting them even too. I just take just a piece of paper, or in this case it's their tag. I'm going to write right over the top of 2 of the strings like that. So I've got those in line. Now I'm going to see if these are in line. These are just a fraction closer, but not much. And these are just a fraction closer. So that means I can probably move this one a little bit that way, this one a little bit that way, and we're probably pretty good to go, but I'm going to just check it again. Right on the money. Right on the money. That looks real good. So they're real evenly spaced. Now we will check the 325 millimeters again. And we're actually a millimeter too far back. That's pretty darn close right there. I think we're ready to tune it up. You can see how the strings use the whole fingerboard now versus the way they were. It spreads the sound out, and I just think it makes it easier to play too. Let's tune this baby up and see where we're at. This is a Korg orchestral tuner, an OT 120. Okay, the pegs are slipping. Let's see if we may have to put peg drops on this. By the way, the other thing to do is whenever you're going to tune one of these with the adjusters, back the adjusters out, because typically the only way you use these adjusters is to tighten them up. So I back them almost all the way out, get it as close as I can with the pegs, and then start adjusting inward. If you hear them rattling, you've got them too loose, but anyway. Yeah, this peg is not staying at all. It's sliding backwards. Maybe it'll stay if I push it in hard enough. The quote that I made years ago is that when a violin is set up perfectly, it's ready to fall apart. And that's true because every single thing is friction. These pegs are friction, the bridge is friction, the tailpiece is even friction when you consider it's just a peg going in here. This loop just goes around it and that peg is not glued in. So everything on these things is friction. When you take the strings loose, then everything falls apart, and including the sound post. Technically, the sound post should fall out when you loosen the strings. This one's a little extra tight. Your average person can't set one of these up, so they put the sound post in there to kind of really stick it in place so that the average consumer doesn't have to deal with that. I'm not going to worry about that in this case, but it's probably a little tight. First time you tune up, especially a violin, you'll have to tune it quite a few times. You have to keep pressure inward on these pegs, otherwise they'll slip. You have to go through it several times because everything stretches. The strings stretch, the body stretches, everything stretches. You want to always look at your bridge, and you might have to adjust your feet like forward and pull the top back and vice versa, so you have to kind of adjust it. You do that adjustment while it's strung up. It takes a while to learn how to do that. You know, that's not an easy thing to do. You can knock the whole bridge out from under it real easy, so you got to be careful with that. 325 on the money. I'm going to kind of pre-stretch all the strings a little bit here. Okay, so let me get the bow all rosined up. In terms of rosining a bow, I am going to use my own rosin on this, not because I think it's any better, it's just that I'll keep the rosin that comes with this fresh and new. I'll just use my own rosin. Now, I'll tell you, when you first get a bow, it's a real job to get rosin on there. It doesn't even want to stick at all. So what I do sometimes is I'll take a little bit of sandpaper, scratch up the rosin a little bit, get it a little soft, you know, it gets it a little powdery, a little dusty, and rub it across there like that, and that'll make it stick a little better. It's very difficult to get a new bow to get rosin on it. The hair doesn't like to stick to the rosin at all when it's new. It'll take you a while to do this if you have a brand new bow. I'm going to try that out. We'll see how it goes. Let me check the tuning one more time and we'll play it for you. Okay, one more thing that I've noticed, and this is minor, but it's just me being picky. When I was trying to play it there a little off camera, these corners of this nut can catch your fingers a little bit. So this file is smooth on one edge. I'll put that smooth edge down and I'll file this corner off. When you round that off like that, round it over, you just don't feel it. It just feels so much nicer to play when those corners are rounded off. Just little minor details like that makes a difference in your setup. Okay, let's get her played. Well, we're going to play it for you. Now, let me give you my usual caveats, plus a couple. First of all, I got 3 really sore fingers. There's got a blood blister on the end of that one. I smashed that one. And I had to drill a hole through the fingernail, let the pressure off. And this one has a hole through the fingernail by accident. I hit my hand on the edge of a saw blade, just swinging my hand like that, and punched a hole right through my fingernail. Yeah, there you go. So that's my extra caveat. Now my normal caveat is that I'm not a fiddle player, can barely play one at all, and the fact that I've been off from working on instruments for 1.5 years now, it didn't help my playing any. So there you go. It's a little bit harsh sounding anyway, and that is the strings, I think, more than it is anything else. These are just not that high end of strings. I can tell just by looking and by the feel and the sound. You can tell it's got potential. I do think it needs different strings or better strings. Strings are expensive if you get decent strings. The strings that I get nowadays are probably retail for about $50 to $60 for a decent set, and you can spend way more than that for a fiddle. But anyway, overall, it's a very nice fiddle. These strings will do fine for a student for quite a while. I'm just being picky. I would rate this overall violin outfit at about an 8, 8.5. In terms of outfits, as far as the outfits that I've seen, I would say this rates right up there with the best that I've seen. That's saying quite a bit because I've seen a lot of violin kits. So this is a very good kit. And it's got lots of potential, and they only get better as you play them too. They need to play in, if you will. Violins are pretty touchy instruments. It takes a little while to get them to really start sounding good. It takes a little while for your fingers to get used to the scale and everything. Every violin's different. Most musicians will tell you that every instrument's a little different. Well, that's true, but especially true with violins. Hope you've enjoyed the review here. I do think this is a great kit. I want to say thank you to Vangoa for sending it to me to review, and we will be giving this away on my daily vlogs, so watch my daily vlogs if you're interested. We'll see you on the next video.